at TwitchCon all the way back then in last fall. It's almost a year now since then. That's pretty crazy to think about. His partner Joseph splitting up now and, you know, going with Riversun here, and Riversun obviously possibly moving to the East Coast for this. Absolutely. Or playing on that West Ping regardless.
Big beams coming in as we talk about playing off your utility. Bolt Glace going down to this insane Munch Wombo combo. We talk about positioning as well as Anthony stays up top, letting Riversun stay in the fray of the fight, but providing support as well from just one level above. And they have that pyramid and floor edit as well. It's going to be impossible for those individuals who just went down to do anything for defense. But, you know, Riversun looked as the role model of the West community. A lot of people learn a lot from watching his VODs and his streams. We'll see what he can do on East. Right now, it's still perfect stuff. Maybe he switched up for his ping as well. But if he is playing on 60, it looks really good.
Looks good indeed. Now moving on to another duo that definitely looks good. It's Commandment and High Sky. Commandment obviously qualifying in the first week of solos. Not yet qualifying in duos. This partner High Sky right here. I also saw in the background Snood and Thwyfo, who had a very, very great performance in week 8. And Snood, one of those guys who, you know, is just barely making it week after week after week. So last opportunity here. You have that rift to go. That's going to get them very far in this game.
Yeah, they actually choose, I think, to take the jump pad instead. It might have been an enemy rift. High Sky being the one who also had a very, very awesome Blackheart performance. We'll see if he can replicate that in this moment as well.
First place.
Yeah, first place. It was amazing. VOD reviewed that, learned. We'll see if that reload might come in the way of the beam. It does. Unfortunately, no damage going down as he's in brick. Has the rift and smokes as well, as Commandment now gets up with his bandages. A big shot coming off on Warrior. That's a lot of good stuff earned by High Sky there.
And you have to actually notice and take note of how he actually pulled out his rift. He was like, let's go, I'm ready for this. But then starting to, you know, realize exactly what needs to go on. Commandment gets beamed down, but he waited that last extra second to get that elimination. But thankfully for Commandment, at 1 HP, Shio, he does have the minis and the bandages to recover it.
After week 6, people understood that white health is something you have to prioritize so much, especially with the storm flip coming in throughout this whole week. It was just recently disabled for week 10, so people might still be on that bandwagon of holding that white health as for patterns when you practice and then you play again. He's very thankful for that right now, Commandment, because he has those white HPs. Somehow finding each other in the same box after smokes. It's so hard to locate a good path to move around in, but now Commandment looking for anything to capitalize on. Big beams coming down, 272. The entire blue shield gets broken from that low ground commando skin. Fami finally going down to the storm actually after that beam. We'll see if these actually smoke again, stick together. Balls everywhere as well. They're going to be dropping down to the low ground. This is the best option for people trying to stick together, but the riskiest after it's done, because you have to now make an entire new development of your own lair, your own boxes to get enough pressure to capitalize on to the rest of the game.
Now Commandment going down to low ground here with High Sky. I'm curious of what's in High Sky's inventory, because we haven't seen them swap any sort of heals or anything like that yet. But Commandment did get that siphon from the player who went down to zone, but hold on. Splode's coming in from the side. They back up together. Now Shadow's going in again. So Shio, you've VOD reviewed all these situations many, many times. Look what happened here to Commandment. Playing low ground in these situations end up being so risky, but also potentially rewarding as he picks up one more elimination.
The biggest thing about this zone at the moment is that although people hate on them, balls are still available, making it so that there's not too many builds blocking Commandment from coming back up from that low ground. We talk about low, let's switch over to high. Riversun up top with Anthony, once again doing the rain dance, all the bullets falling down below. Frey, Snood, and Thwyfo are actually going to be the ones to get the front of that force from up top. Riversun dropping down, taking a little bit of fall damage, needs a siphon elimination here as he does not have any white heals at the moment. A surprise box opening is now going to be realized that where the pressure is coming from Riversun. We'll see if he can dynamically switch between these mat layers to get a nice vantage point or a surprise shot off on anyone, but there are so many hard mats at this point. Everyone's adapted on the rotation meta, the tunneling meta, when to have wood out, when to use brick and metal, and it's going to be so hard, especially with attack AR, to beam through these builds.
You see him trying to open up the sightlines, trying to break through and create any sort of gap where he can find an opportunity.
Speak up, bro.
There does get a little bit of a shield tag, but still nothing yet, as you talked about the hard mat being so useful for these players down on low ground. Now getting up close and personal, that's Thwyfo who goes down, so Snood now left on his lonesome.
We talk about using utility. There's not much available left to crack open the server. We did see Riverson use some stinks earlier to capitalize on an elimination. High Sky now down on bottom. These guys are going to have to fight for this entire layer. Big shots being traded. Bluff goes and gets that elimination on High Sky. TJ now falling with COD Genesis. One of the other duos left is going to be a 2v2v1. Anthony and Riverson want to crush down this entire high ground layer. Makes it very easy to pressure. No one's on ultimate low at the moment. Can't Bluff call that bluff and go all the way down. COD Gen comes down to Bluff. He might get the Cypher for that as well. Give him a nice, easy picking on Anthony and Riverson, as well as they might be able to take height now. A 1v1
Douglas!
Representing NA East now, popping off and getting that elimination.
Yeah, switching coasts, and I think that was a perfect, opportunity to talk about their chemistry there in the last moments. That timing by Anthony and Riverson to come down right on top of all the duos, right as they all fell within each other, all of them trading shots together, and then they just come in and clean up. That's all they needed to do.
Absolutely, just stick on the same page, not one person building and one person shooting, 2 shots coming in, and a nice 1-for-2 trade there, or 2-for-1 trade, netting them the win. We now have Zofer chilling on, once again, a Polar Peak lair. Looks like every region is now having their own respective biome to play in. We saw EU with a lot of guys or Northeast games. We'll see if the filter, the great filter, can be overcome this time as Thick Boy Uravs and 99 Zofer see if they can hold off on this pressure. The wall replaces, you're never sure how much ping your enemy has, how much you have. Ooh. A big trap placement coming in, B-Man going down, no secret there, as the whole server now knows the mistakes they've made on that push.
That was a crazy prediction there by Zofer to realize, hey, he's pressuring my roof. He maybe got a roof or 2 or whatever, but then realizing he's going to drop down on my wall next. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively place this trap. And he fell right into it.
The grind that these players do, Atlantis to Duo Arena to these big pro scrims, you'll be facing so many people and identifying so many patterns that sometimes it's just second nature to predict things that just work out for you all the time as well. Sheep and Famhood now on the top of Polar Peak.
Speaking of second nature, I mean, we're in the box fight era right now, so that is exactly true. As Sheep and Famhood with the high ground on Polar Peak, they're trying to control this entire thing. They're trying to control that edge, and it could be so valuable for them. No, I'm gonna go ahead and dive down.
At the moment, not Panda, not in his natural climate. Gonna get frosted over by Sheep, who's gonna survive with that big wolf fur all over his body. These misfits up top gonna make sure they're gonna do a little bit of mischievous things to the rest of the server as well. 4D, Raz, and Vorpal though, sneaky right below. Not sure if Famhood and Sheep know where they are. Famhood making sure he has some insurance just in case the zone does bounce back. It's actually looking like it is gonna go a little bit behind them. They have that prime position once again.
You just mentioned the insurance right there. What Famhood did was actually connect to the side of Polar Peak so that he makes sure, hey, Raz and Vorpal, I know you guys are down there. I know we landed on your base, but this is our real estate now. If you want to go ahead and make edit plays, no, you can't. I bought it.
The Fortnite housing market has some beef in it right now. We'll see if these guys can figure it out, up that property value. Gonna look at low ground right now. Once again, these people getting caught on the backside of zone, maybe using that rift a little bit too late, all the way up top. Postic taking an elim out on Tyler's. Tyler's now getting knocked after that. The sacrifice you make on low ground sometimes can be too much to give you any advantages as well. A stink grenade coming out on the follow-up. Axiom
perfect math. Right? He's doing it in his head right now. He knows exactly what he hit that player for. He saw the white damage come through. He did the math. He did the addition. He knows one stink is going to take you out. So perfect recognition here. They took out Painful's teammate a second ago, but no, I thought he was going to go ahead right through the back of that. It's going off the side of Polar right now, and we know who's up on top. It's still Famhood and Sheep continuing to hold that real estate.
The big thing about this Polar mountain, especially when you're playing on the side of it, is it always gives you natural ground to connect to on the mid-ground tarp layer. So that's going to be very important for all these teams who are going to be looking for shots above and below. Trying to shoot up from mid-ground is always a big risk as you can get knocked down from below you, but now that can be opened up. So Sheep is being very meticulous about where he looks at, focusing a lot of his attention on the low ground layers because he knows that this position might be a little bit more vulnerable than usual. Big shots coming out on him, but he has a lot of shields and a rift as well, just in case things do hit the fan. We'll see if he has to use it at all, dropping in Storm to now waterfall down. Once again, dope mat management. He's going to be using one mat all the time to fall, making sure he falls diagonally to make sure he saves on a mat from a tarp switch as well, which is really nice. One elim amongst this duo though, so the capitalization on points might not be there yet, but there are 20 individuals left alive, 12 duos. That first placement point comes in, and we'll see if they can get more points all the way up to the Vic Roy.
I really like what they're doing here, moving so slowly forward. Just find Raz, who's, below him all that time before, but slowly going in on the edge, really making it so that people don't realize that they're a threat, that they're up there, that they have high ground and they're owning the game right now. Famhood still looking for those opportunities, just like you said. I think he's going to find one more as these players decide to fight. Couple in the zone. He does find KZ, but falls all the way down, unfortunately, going all the way down to 21 HP. And I already see a problem here because there's stink grenades in play, really, up on high ground.
Stink grenades in play on height is one of the most dangerous things because sometimes you can't even build higher. It's a lot worse for you at the end of the day. Wall replaces coming in. Dynamic Menace goes down. The 2-tap coming in. Very nice stuff from Sheep here. He's going to start to go down as well, but he's getting pressured from all sides at the moment. Famhood is also alive on a tick of HP right now. They're going to be looking for connects if that's possible. Famhood staying up so he doesn't get damaged at all either.
And that crazy switch, mat switch right there as he was waterfalling down with wood, and then suddenly he switches. He still had 430 wood. Switches to brick. Makes it possible for him not to get knocked down. And I'm seeing a bunch of names down here that we started with. We saw Uravs, Posick, and then Bumpa and Slappy, who each week we have been coming back to, and they've been getting better and better as they've started their journey as a duo together.
Absolutely. High tier loot as well from everyone, so every shot that connects will connect hard. Clank now trying to find a way through with Posick. We'll see if they can come up. 5 eliminations up. Can they get more? The final placement points has been handed out. A shadow comes in, and he gets stopped and slapped away. Slappy gonna get eliminated at the end over there. Some edits getting misplayed from Clank. Can he make it in? 46 HP, 26 now. A lot of damage taken, gonna be detrimental towards the end of the game. Famhood actually goes down, so Sheep is left by himself. Clank jumping all the way up. Looks like he actually gets eliminated by the Storm, trying to go for an advantageous position.
Slappy actually got the elimination there because the Storm took him out, and Bumpa's still alive, so that point does connect, and they get into the top 5 as Super Evan goes down now to 1v1v1. Bumpa goes out to Godnik right there. And it's Sheep versus Godnik. Sheep on the high ground, Godnik down below, but he's in a little bit of a pickle because there's actually an iceberg in the way. He goes out in the storm. I think he might have just taken high ground. Sheep doesn't realize where he's at. He's using the chug to heal off. He's running away from Godnik. The first time we've seen the chug splash used in that sort of manner. Running away, getting the ice on his feet on purpose, and then going right out. The chug splash. It's here, it's ready, and we're getting back to those crazy heal-offs, Shayo.
It's happening. It almost looked like a PG fight was going on, but we'll see. Go back to Zeke and see what's up with the rest of the games coming up.
I like that rhyme. I'm about that, Shy. I like you. You're a really cool guy. Man, what an insane game there coming out. The Chug Splash, man. I'm telling you, we have not seen the ceiling for this item. And people are going to continue using it to do some really fun and crazy things like that, but great for the player to identify, you know what, I can just live. I'm just going to keep just splashing the ground. I'm good.
Well, it's a great, because it's a change, right? I talked about it a little bit earlier. This fundamentally shifts kind of how those full storm closure and those heal-offs play, because usually you have to account for it. There's no insta HP. It's either a HP over time via the slope of the campfire, or you have to commit to either procking it off, whether it's the bandage, the med kit, or sitting there and popping a shield. So now all of a sudden, when it's an insta 20 HP and it stacks up to 6 times, like, you can exchange those out. So now a siphon might not be enough. And I mean, those end games, things are getting weird.
Things are getting weird. Speaking of weird, I don't know. I didn't make a great transition. But we're hanging out with Sundown.
These plays were sick. They weren't
I was going to say, yeah.
Let's get right on into it, or let's dive on in. You can see the swimming pool over there. But first, we're on board with Niddle and Casker. Now, Niddle has qualified in the solos, is able to pick up 2xe there, and then start his work from top down. He picks up a nice double here onto Zextra right away, and then he finds Vinny right afterwards. So brilliantly done from him to be relentless, chase up with this, and manages to get the wall replaced, and then pushes in and will be able to close that one out, but gets knocked there. Casker, however, held the high ground, didn't go down to contest, and is going to be able to ride this one out. You can see it's a 2v1v1, but he equalizes by picking up Top Gun and then getting the first shot and the second one. 6 HP left. We talked about the difference that could end up being it, but Ghost is lost, and Boppin didn't look lost here. They were able to put the bop on the rest of the lobby, picked up Snaz there, and this one was all about control. They're running the high ground from the entire time. They made sure they identified the threats by them, and then they picked good targets on the edge of the storm. And you can see Ghost following up right away. Virtue trying to make a move, but it wasn't enough, and Boppin is going to be able to just follow it up, and you can see them being relentless. And then Ghost, this is great. They tarp out the whole level. They know he's there, and Ghost is like, we're not going to lose. I'm 100/100. I'm going to go down. Every point matters. That one got them the 13th elim, and now we got Anthony and Riverson. So Riverson used to be the best of the West, now playing over in the East, trying to be a beast here, doing everything he can to get another qualification spot. He wants it so badly, picking up Twyfo there and trying to push through. You can see pulls up with a great flank and control around the zone to get TJ, stay in it, and then recognize the shot onto Bluff at the end. Just brilliantly done. We've seen Riverson before, and now trying to do it with the new duo of Anthony in the final week. We're used to seeing him with Persecute, but let's see if it's enough to get him up here on the standings.
Here we go. Right now at the top, you've got Zayt and Saf leading with 48 points, 4 games played. But right behind them, you've got the liquid duo of 72 and Vivid. Tetra and Eclipse right behind them. And look at this, man. From top to bottom, an 8-point spread. That's, I mean, 8 points in striking distance is, you know, making it what, let's say top 5 and a few victory royales. And suddenly you're finding yourself up all the way up here. I mean, this is still really, really close.
And the one thing you have to realize, Eclipse and Tetra have already qualified. Zayt and Saf have already qualified. So right now, it would be 72 hours and Vivid, Slacks and Keys, and then Assault and Innocent. But with all of these players here, we've talked about a reasonable pop-off game being about 15 points. It's a 5-win victory royale or a top 5 with 8 elims. And in duos in particular, because everyone kind of squishes together at the end, those numbers can be inflated. We've seen 20-plus point games.
Yeah.
We saw Stompy Dashinkin drop back-to-back 20-point games to take the top. It is still anybody's tournament for the last 3 spots. And again, this is it. After this, you're done. If you played on NA East, you can hang it up. If you're not going to New York, you get to watch with everyone else.
That's right. And again, you know, if you're seeing these players and you don't recognize them, or maybe you do, just take a moment, send them some love. They're playing their hearts out right now, trying to punch their tickets. But of course, Fortnite fam, we're ready to hop back into more games. Thank you so much, Sunna, for hanging out. We're going for a dip, so let's send it back over to Bala and ShiaWager.
Thank you, Zeke. Those eyebrows always on fleek, and so is NA East as we get into Dubs and Mega, the big titans of the entire server on solos and duos. A nice, varied actually rotation coming in. A ball sticking beside a flintlock pistol like a mother deer and her fawn as these guys move around the field at the moment. A lot of mats available as well, and they keep saving these mats as well when they use this type of rotation.
I love the use of the flintlock as a rotational item. It's something that you can always basically count on finding at least one, or maybe a glider redeploy, shadows, or something. And that flintlock, hey, sometimes you have it and you're like, oh, I don't have any rotation, but it saves the day here as Dubs and Mega make their way towards the zone and almost approaching that top 25. That's not a placement threshold here in duels. It's actually still half of the server alive right now.
It's just really impressive that these guys used these many limited mats, saved the ball, and got in without taking any damage, as it's so hard to do when one player has the ball and the other player doesn't. It takes so much experience. Speaking of experience, knowing the proper sight lines and the proper builds to shoot as well is huge, as Dubs is going to be calling the shots on who to shoot at the moment. Dubs looking at boxes beside him as well that are just completing. A lot of chaos going on around him as well. A blue tack shotgun available, so he gets multiple shots in close range. It actually does out DPS the combat if you are in that box-to-box moment, and that's what he's going to be looking for, doing his patented wall replacing. It is the box fight meta. And we'll see if Mega can play that meta as well, as one duo holds while the other one pushes. Flintlocks coming in that tack. Double tapped. Ghoul goes down, now representing his name as a ghost in the server. We'll see what else these duels can do as we look at a huge aerial shot of everyone on the same layer on this mountain in the map.
Starting to flatten out, but we know the moving zones are coming, and we know those change things very fast. And as I was looking at those standings, I was looking and seeing what the average points are for those top places, the people who are going to be qualifying. Zayt and Safit up at the top, they were averaging just slightly over 10 points a game at 46, and they had only played 4 games. Same thing with 72 and Vivid. And, you know, I have a funny story about Dubs and Mega, actually. Dubs was giving me advice on how to play in the finals. He's like, Balla, you got this. You can qualify. All you need to do is get 10 points a game. I'm like, okay, buddy. You're only one of the few people who can do that consistently.
One of the only in the world. We talk about the are in these leaderboards. The first 5 games and the last 5 games and these 5 shots coming out of Vix are so different and important as he gets that knock. When players are playing your first 5, the mentality is very different. You have some momentum, but as you move around in those leaderboards, those last 5 games, people start getting more serious. People start throwing games. Speaking about throwing things, all these bodies getting thrown in the air as everyone is on rotation at the moment as the zone just starts moving. Looks like no one's really moving that late. Rote is left behind with Zeshi as well.
And I'm already seeing the top 3 players or duos up on the leaderboard, Vivid and 72, and we saw Keys and Slacks as well down below them. Looks like Vivid is in a clutch situation right now as his teammate is already down, trying to find the player on the zip line. He heard it coming. Started to put his attention immediately on it as he tunnels forward. Again, we talk about it every single time. It's always get ahead of the zone, look back. Look for those gatekeeping shots as he sees, he opens it up, gets the stairs in, the edit comes through. Divine had no chance and no speed to realize that that was going to happen from Vivid, taking an opportunity to find that elimination.
Divine on the low ground, now being dropped down to the underworld as Vivid starts to make his way up. 72 has been eliminated, so it's all him. Only 10 mats though, so it's just him and a Dream at the moment. Now has to barrage through enemy builds with his pickaxe. Has an edit though. The last mat that was his in that box. The dynamic zipline play coming in as he does gain a little bit of height, but needs to go even higher. Balls flying all around him in the map as well. H-tag going down. Can he get the mats from that elimination? Yes, he can. 20 metal only though, as he still has to rely on his trusty pickaxe, denying a player height on that layer as well. He does have 1 launch pad and 1 mat left. Tickers all the way up top with Hornet, who has qualified in solos as well. We'll see if he can replicate that and get double qualled with his dual partner as well. Kuturba dropping down a layer. We'll see if Vivid can find a way up.
Vivid doing crazy things right now. Fortunately, the zone did go back in his favor, so he doesn't have to spend too many materials as it's going downhill, and he uses the 1 piece of metal to block that shot, and now he's looking for more. He's looking to refresh. He needs to find something, possibly both of these eliminations in the storm. Yes, this is going to be the mats that he needs to refresh. Not even much, though. Every single time he finds an elimination, there's not much at all. The edit coming through, is he going to finish it off? Yes, but does he get the mats? Not really. Not really just yet, but taking the time, going back, still only 10 builds, really 15 builds here. Vivid, can you really do this right here with no mats from all the way back when? Clutching up, now into the top 5. He is doing this.
The big thing about getting these low ground eliminations is that everyone else is also in shambles. The big wall barrage coming in with the flint knock, just nice knowledge about where your materials are and where the angles are to get in. Has 2 heavy snipers available as well, so he takes multiple chances at moving through. Has to move up layers though. Silent edits coming in. Big Enas as well as Frat gets flown off that low ground as well. Vivid's just moving in ways I've never seen. Can he get that launch pad off?
No.
It might not be enough time. Vivid now going down to the zone is going to hold back as much as possible to see if the enemies were making a mistake, but that's the game. Hornet and Tickers playing the positional game there and winning it off with all this multi-high and low ground coming out. Look at these tarps, Balla.
Yeah, this fossil is ridiculous as it goes all the way back. I mean, really, we could actually track the story of Vivid, right? He had no materials through all of this. He barely contributed to that thing, but he survived until top 2. So what a performance there from Vivid, and that's why they're up there. That's why they're in 2nd place right now.
It's always that 1 or 2 pop-off game, and it's always also about staying consistent. If Vivid and Tom keep playing that way, easily they can qualify this week 100%. We see Stinks now, the big focus of week 10. A lot of people carrying them more than normal I've seen right now in all these regions. Nice dodges from Grasha there, though. We'll see if he can move forward. Has a lot of mats available for the moment. 3 elims amongst him and his dual partner Daxter, both representing E11 Gaming. They do have that patented flintlock and redeploy combo. I think is one of the most dynamic combos in the game, as you don't have to pull out anything if you fall off from height. It's very easy to kind of manipulate where you want to be exactly with those 2 items. Granted though, they do take 2 slots.
But I mean, 2 slots, and we've seen the use of it. Actually, I don't know if we've seen it on broadcast yet, but there's starting to be a lot of innovative uses with the Flintlock and the glider redeploy. You actually go faster, even horizontally, when you use that Flintlock and the glider redeploy, because you shoot that Flintlock, it pushes you with the momentum, and then you're using that glider redeploy to just carry you forward.
The biggest thing about it, too, is that you can choose when to stop and take your shots as well. We see a lot of stuff happening on low right now as well. We have Pika on the server as well.
What is this? Is West just migrating to East? What is going on? Why are you here, Pika?
Maybe
on East?
the timings of West, they thought, hey, we should get into games now, and they fell off on the East. We'll see if they can get the stuff done. There are 2 more qual spots on East compared to West, though, so maybe that's one big thing if these guys think that they can pop off.
I mean, we've seen in the past Psalm, you know, he is a West Coast player, but the first week he actually moved over to East, making sure that he gives himself the most opportunities, the most spots, and he qualified first try. He's actually even East still with his partner Symmetrical this week, so Pika taking a little bit of a note from Psalm.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, though, this is not the first chance. This is the last chance. It's week 10, so everyone's pulling out all the tricks from the bag. No secrets here. We'll see if we get anything equivalent of an Olaf boost. We'll see if there's any secret stats happening as that door edit comes through. People now have adapted to that, though. They know that someone's coming through that door. Assault taking all his shield off when he gets onto this rotation. Only 2 minis available. We'll see if Innocence has any heals as well to supplement this duo as he gets booped a little bit of interruption there on his minis. He does have shadows available. Once again, 1 player on shadows, 1 player on the balls, and in perfect position as well as he can beam Hydra from the zone line. A nice dynamic switch onto the floor from the wall once you realize that someone was already pressuring that wall. This is just those micro decisions these players make at the last second of these shots to get that elimination when they move across the map as well. They're going to be on rotation now. We'll see when they box up and go back.
Assault getting beamed from the back, not realizing there was a player who's going to immediately realize that he's there. But I got to talk about it. We said pulling out all the stops. Assault and Innocence right here. They're sticking to the tried and true, the 1 baller strat. We've seen them do this, even dual baller all the way through from the beginning, but they just got ripped in. That baller is gone now, and they have to dive. No, Innocence is still down there, actually. I misspoke. There's so many players in the sky right now, but still. So I think he still has that baller. I think he could still last a lot, but look at his HP right now, not working out just yet. Where did Assault go? Did he land nearby?
He landed on the mid-ground there, Bala, and he got right to work as Branchies, who is also on East right now, playing it up, gets a big knock down from Assault. He, as soon as he landed, even though he was split, went straight to work, started bullying Davon, who also landed with Fernando on that mid-ground, and he has this insurance, once again getting tagged up. People just predicting everything these players are doing when it comes to smokes. There's no safety available. Everyone's on their best behavior. They know all the stops they can pull to get this pressure down. Assault's now getting dynamic with it. Might not move the same way to get that shadow off. It might affect him on the amount of distance he can move, but he still has Matt's 500 wood left, actually, which might prove fatal near the end of the game as that wood can get shredded through, just like cheese in a grater. We'll see if he can keep it yummy, though. Assault on 41 HP, needs some more food, needs some more eliminations to get that siphon off and get him back up to 100. Sees that Stormline sightline as WordBro gets .exe'd out of the game. He's off now. 28 builds left for Assault. He doesn't get to pick up those mats. Owen and Threats owning probably the best mid-ground tarp they can have right now, but they're getting stinked off of it as there's so many people fighting for these high mid-ground layer tarps as well.
Staying on board with Assault, just great shots as he immediately realized that player was going to make an edit on him, getting the double combat shotgun shot through. And I think he wants to go for the mats, but maybe a little bit risky. Does find a med kit. Is he going to find the time to pop it? Is this the final zone? I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he really goes for the full heal off right here. Now, down on low ground, there's still so many people left alive, Shiloh. I mean, there are 11 players total, 7 duos still remaining in this game, and it's final zone. It is time. 1 minute left in the game.
People are going to be playing super, super smart. The placements have not even gone out yet. All the points there. Still duels to get knocked down. Ape W keys get sent back to the jungle. No opportunity there for him to get any placements, unfortunately. One duo still needs to go down. Assault looking very healthy on HP and shield right now. Has a little bit more time to move through the storm. That storm taking 10 damage a second. Gives him about 8 to 9 seconds to move throughout without an elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Intangible goes down as Assault is now just freaking on everyone. Another shot coming in. Threats is getting eliminated. Can he keep it going? Assault has that low ground layer. It's very dangerous for the surprise factor. Davon getting that shot off, but it's not over yet. Creo and Nolan in a 1v1. Both their duos have gone down. Creo with the Superman launch pad on the height. Still has Mats to answer with it as well. Starts taking the ticks of health first, but resets those ticks as Nolan has fallen under less HP. Creo with the high IQ launch pad and safety switch to stay in the storm and clinch out that game. Huge plays there. 3 eliminations, the victory royale. Creo, you can't do it better, Bella. You can't.